Another one from the lineage of David, and his name is Joshua. And so we find ourselves at the end of the story of Joshua. The Israelites have come into the promised land, and it's actually well after that time where they invaded and went to war to actually conquer the promised land of Canaan. And so here we are a long time afterward, when the Lord had given rest to Israel from all their enemies, and Joshua was old, advanced in years, the Bible says in chapter 23. So all the tribes have gathered at Shechem. And it's a point right in the middle of the land between Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim. And that's where Joshua had previously renewed his covenant with the Lord. So Joshua had already spoken to the leaders who set the groundwork for the people right before this time we come into. And it seemed that Joshua might have spoken his final words to the people, probably because he was aware he was at the end of his life. He'd given them some pretty stern warnings to follow the law of Moses. He laid out severe consequences should they fail to do so, concluding with these dire words: "You shall perish quickly from the good land that the Lord has given to you if you don't obey." Go. And now Joshua speaks to all the people, and he asks them, he's not telling them, he's asking them to remember all that God has done for them. Remember all that God has done for you. So Joshua is, in a sense, acting like a prophet here, not just a king, and he gives them a choice. Choose to or not to revere the Lord. This Kay talked to the children about serving the Lord, but revering the Lord. And when we revere the Lord, we want to do something to serve God. So remembering is what we're doing. I'm going to invite you to do today. Remember how God led the Hebrew people out of slavery in Egypt? Well, I think our history as a people of faith, no matter what church we've attended or where we grew up, I don't think our history is all that much different. The Lord has been active in our lives. We don't always recognize it at the time when it happens. I know I've told the story of how I got into the ministry. Lots of things just kept going wrong in my life, and finally I was up at Silver Lake one day doing a conference for junior high kids, and it was midweek, and for me that's always meltdown day. So I was getting a little break and went off to take a shower on a hot July day, and came out of the shower, and one of the counselors from the camp staff, or the staff people, came up to me and said, I have a towel in my head. I'm like, how do you know who I was? But he said, hey, we have another kid that we need to send into your conference. And I was like, this would make three, because youth had registered for the wrong age groups. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, God, what else are you going to send me? Of course, he never asked that question, because God does, right? But after that week, all these other things kind of fell apart in my life, and it was as if God was clearing a path for me as I look back, for me to finally say yes to going into the ministry, something I had probably avoided for about 10 years at that point. And so I look back and I can see how God was working in my life, whether it was choices that I made that things fell apart, or maybe there was intervention, I don't know. But when we do look back, we can see how we've faced what we had to face, right? And maybe we can reflect on some of the choices that we made that brought us to that point. So our experiences, our reactions, are those things that mold and shape us. And as many of you know, and for those who don't, we did spend time yesterday celebrating the life of Miriam Shibuya. She passed away at 96 years old. And church was always important to her. It helped her live a life of faith. And in serving others, she helped to display her quiet reverence of God. And just in so doing that, I'm going to read you her philosophy of life, which any of our young people who are going into confirmation should take notes. It's a wonderful reflection. The human individual is divided into a body, a mind, and a spirit. We should have a respect and a feeling of beauty for our body. We should seek to keep it clean, give it food, and take care of it. We should be thankful, those of us who have a healthy body. We also have a mind. We think, we reason, we understand, we realize. We have the ability to form opinions and ideals by which we desire to live. The world is beautiful to live in. True, there are a lot of trouble and hardship, but this is due to those who have tried to push all sense of religion from their lives. Will they succeed? No. For the conquerors of the sword have always lost in the end, and once more love has reigned. We must trust in that and have hope. Life is too short, too dry to be concerned only with material things and our own selfish desires. The more we can live a life of service to others, the happier we will be. Judge a man not by his color or religion, nor by his actions, for who are we to judge? Let the other person live and think as he so desires. Let us do unto others as we would have them do to us. Let us live each day the best we can, and we will have no fears or worries. We will look up and say, the world is a wonderful place. Life is so full, so deep, and so rich. I love to live. Amazing that she wrote that at age 18, and she continued to live it. And since I had already planned to talk about this in the sermon, it's called Long Memory. So I'm inviting us to remember. If you're not sitting next to someone, or if you're far away from someone, I'll invite you to slide down or turn around and talk to the person behind you. I'd like us to remember and take a few minutes, just a couple minutes, to talk to each other. And I have two questions. And I'm going to take notes if you're willing to share back maybe what you think of. There's two areas, either the church or your life. In your recent memory or past memory, so those of us who have been here for members for a long time, how has God led our congregation? Can you think of events or things that were maybe life-changing for the congregation? Or can you think of a time when God led you out of a difficult situation? Or how God is leading you out or through a difficult situation? Think for a moment, and maybe you can share something with one another. Just take a couple minutes. Okay. I'm going to call us back. One thing we just shared, I was talking with Kip and Steve, and as folks can see that they've got two grandchildren that they are taking care of. One who is hard to keep up with. You saw Catherine running out the door after Eli. But in saying, talking about that, the church is more than coming to church. It's about the education we receive, no matter how young or old we are. It makes us part of a larger community, and we learn. The young people learn how to be leaders. They learn how to do things. And also talked a little bit about how when we went through the open and affirming process, a lot of education, it was a bit divisive, but then people came full circle, and we chose to become an open and affirming congregation, something that we embrace. So what else were there any aha moments? Maybe there were, but yes, Patty.
I grew up in town, right next door, been here for a long time, and one of the best memories that I have, not only of my family, my sister and I working so closely in the church, with the church, and all of the people here with the high mission is enjoyable, but also when I was in school well over 50 years ago as a young girl. And as recently as yesterday, I spent time with all of those people at our 51st class reunion picnic yesterday, just to share all those memories that we had, and all the times that we spent together, good times, bad times, and just the closeness of those people that even though you don't see them every day, they're still in your heart.
So a sense of community, you know, from
Family.
that the family, community, family, that church does become family, which also reminds us that church is a human institution, so it's never perfect. Anybody else? Yeah, here.
I got lots of memories. I was a kid, Kim and I went to school together.
Yeah.
And we've got lots of memories with the town and the church. It's in family. Like 68 years ago, my mother and father-in-law were supposed to get married in a Mystic church, which is a whole different. Well, they had to have renovations, so they got married here. And so in turn, my husband and I, it would be 44 years, in November we got married here. And almost 21 years ago, our daughter got married here, and then another daughter. But what I feel here is a sense of comfort, family, community. You know, I was just telling Melissa and Rob how my kids, we live in Charleston and go to Chariho. And they always said, Mom, why did we have to go all the way back to North Stonington? 20 minutes, mind you, it's not. Well, we were on earlier sessions, Sunday school at 9:30, church at 11, but so we would spend the days on your church. But, you know, all these we're going on our third generation. Now my grandchildren, right, come to this church, and they just love it. They're like, we're going tomorrow. We're working on that closet again. So,
Yep.
but anyways, it's just
So it becomes
a sense
family.
of family and everything here.
Right.
And I do remember one time I was upset with the Lord.
You're probably not alone in being upset with the Lord, Mary.
I was upset when our father passed away, and I couldn't get through it. And I remember Reverend Lee helping me get through that time, and it was a big help.
Right.
But, and like I said, almost 2 years ago, I believe God wouldn't let me. That's why I'm still here.
That's right. You knew you'd have something to say, right? Anybody else? Yes, Kirsten.
As you know, I started getting in and out of this church sometimes and attending other churches, and it's been a story of my life because of living where I did when I grew up. That was Methodist. And going through college, but it was quite great.
Right. So you've gone to, in the different places you live, you go to different traditions, and yep.
But this has become I would say in many ways, the church where I am most at home. One, because of the way it welcomes people and encourages them to be involved. But two, because it seems to blend without the need to tear the religion. So many aspects of faith. So,
I'll just repeat what you said, because you are soft-spoken. I know I haven't moved a little closer, but Kristen said this feels like home. And not because simply that we welcome people and help, you know, connect them to things they like to do, but also that we come together and we can blend together, but we're not rigid. And so thank you for that. That's a good reflection. Anyone else wants something? A couple more if anybody has some insight. Well, if you do think that we have thought of something and you want to share it, I invite you to write it down or email me, and we will keep looking at this because, and I did have a little ulterior motive in sharing today, or having us just thinking, because in 2021, this church will celebrate 300 years here in this town. This building hasn't been here for 300 years. But this worshiping community has been. And so I invite you to think about this long history of which we are a part of, not just here in this country, but biblically, where we are all being led out of something and into wholeness with God. That God always places before us choices, as it says in wrong text, sorry, I'm not forgetting the text. I think it's in Deuteronomy. God does place before us the choice of life and death, and the prophet says, I choose life. And so hopefully today, when we go forward all our choices, maybe we'll think a little bit more deeply about the choices that we make, even when it's picking the kind of tuna fish you want off the grocery stores. Think about your actions and your words and how they can be life